this session is really going to be a treat because if you've seen any of Inga's videos, you know she is absolutely wonderful. So I'll just give a brief introduction. Inga Marie Ramcke is a science educator based in Hamburg, Germany. So obviously she's not very happy with the fact that Indian Standard Time is so flexible, but she said she's going to be Indian as long as she's in India. She's a member of the Children's Book Writer Network and focuses on non-fiction. Her books are published by German, Danish, and Russian publishing houses. Through the Science Communication Project, Prolitzwissen, I'm sure I pronounced it wrong, she also works with adult audiences. Across both areas, she uses puppeteering to engage audiences of all ages with sustainable development topics. Her books cover space science, biology, and physics, while her adult work focuses on seas and oceans, combining playfulness, interaction, human, and accessibility. Her approach encourages curiosity, dialogue, creativity, empathy, understanding, and scientific engagement. We are really honored that she's come all the way from Germany just to conduct these sessions for us and in Kerala. I mean, we are just very, very fortunate to have her. She had one workshop yesterday, and there will be 2 sessions. The demographics for this session is 8 to 10, and for the next one is 11 to 14. People of all ages are, of course, encouraged to watch, but she will tailor each session to the audience which is intended. So she's not going to make it lower or higher or different in any way. So without further ado, I hand it over to you, Inga.
Are you tired? That's not enough of an applause for this very long and... Thank you very much. Thanks for this introduction. Yeah, I'm a puppeteer, storyteller, I wouldn't say, but I love to interact with children. So I'm catering for the children in this room, not for the adults. I'm very happy that you are here, and I might move a lot because I'm more of this energetic moving type of person, and maybe I will even go further down because I find it very weird to be on stage like that and I'm so far away from you. I brought you in this first session some stories about migration. Migration is a worldwide topic and it's a weird word. So I call this workshop or this interaction that we are having Once Upon a Dragonfly, because the first animal is gonna be a dragonfly, and dragonflies live worldwide. And they are very, very quick flyers, and I even have a necklace, and that is a migratory dragonfly as well, because I bought it in Italy, and I am German, so it's another country, and I have a map for you so that you know where I am based. So what you can see in the background is obviously me on a river, because we are having a river in our city. The city is called Hamburg, and I was rowing the boat, and in the background you can see a very impressive building, and that's our symphony house. And you could sit in this part of the building and enjoy music if you were in Hamburg. So come over maybe sometime. Hamburg itself is a bit far from here. So who can guess how long it took me to reach India? Let's see. Oh, there is a second row, a first good guess.
2 days.
2 days is a little too much, but if you would walk on foot, you would even take more.
14 hours.
Perfect timing, guy. Yeah, it's exactly 14 hours with a small layover included in these 14 hours. So I took a flight from Hamburg to Doha. Usually I do Hamburg, Abu Dhabi, but that time I was going to Doha because Doha was catering Kozhikode at Kerala. And before I came to see you, I was seeing the crowd in Kozhikode or Calicut at the Kerala Literature Festival. And so now we are, as you know, I mean, the small children, the smallest maybe don't know, but we are here. But I came from there, and this 14 hours, so I took the flight from here to somewhere here, I think even though there and then over here. And this is my hometown. I told you that this is the river, and you can see again this beautiful building. I took that picture, by the way, at a primary school that I was doing workshops with the primary school children, and that's their view out of the classroom in the morning, sun coming up. This is direction India. You know that the sun is going up more in your direction if you, from the perspective of a German. And this is the building again that I was referring to earlier, and that's the other direction of the river. That's the same view, but if you look to the right. And now we will follow the first story. I took this plane, 14 hours, and I would say, los geht's. Is any one of you, and if you want to sit, you can maybe grab a place. Are there any free seats? There are people in the entrance area who need a seat. There is one, I can see it here, it's not used. It's reserved for children. There is a wrong sign on it. It says parents, I don't know why. This is for children. So make yourself comfy, but watch out that you are not in front of someone who's smaller than you. And then we start. Maybe some adults can help with that. And if you are fine, you can, of course, sit on the ground. Like, ooh, there's someone going away. There's 2 more free seats, even a 3rd one. Help yourself. Now we will go into a book that is not translated yet. But when I was in Kerala, I was talking to a friend, and he said he's working for the Goethe Institute, that's the Max Muller-Bhavan, and they are teaching German and working with the local communities, and maybe that book will be translated into, will not help yourself, but Bengali. So that's the first thing. And this is the book called Reiseführer für Tiere. If you would translate it, it would sound like travel guide for animals. So this migration topic, this word migration is a bit maybe adulty, and travel guide is easier to find out, I think, what that would mean. So there are many, many animals in the book. So it's all about those who were traveling. Since I am based in Europe, and that book was printed in Europe, this looks quite Europe-centric, with all those dots here, and every colored dot is one of the 25 animals included in the book. Some of you are seated more next to the screen. Maybe you know some of the animals already. Is anyone able to see an animal that they know of and tell, oh, come to the front then, because that's easier to point out what you saw instead of me guessing more right, more left. So we will have like around 5 animals that are pointed out now, and maybe we go back to them later. Do you want to come to the front? You were, yeah? Then make yourself take the way. You need to put on shoes first. Can leave the shoes off. Okay, and then I take someone from the first row. Oh no, it's moving. This child is moving. Attention technician. Okay, works. So which animal did you see?
Butterfly. The butterfly.
Can you show? There's a butterfly. Thank you very much. Oh, and it's perfect direction. Thank you very, very much, because when you travel, you start at some point and you end at some point. And that was, it could have been the opposite direction that it was flying, but this is the butterfly. It's a monarch butterfly, and it really traveled from here, which is Canada, over to Mexico. That's one of the longest butterfly migrations in the world. Girl in green. Isn't it by chance that you are wearing the flag on this day? Perfect. And again, Thank you very much. It's the dragonfly. We will go back to that one shortly. Perfect. Good introduction. Yes, please. Come up. So we are at animal number 3, and I will take 2 more, maybe. That one. Oh, it's going from here to here. What do you think is it? It's an animal that's living in the Indian Ocean as well.
Dolphin.
Not bad. It's a mammal. Dolphin is not correct, but you can't really see it, right? Do you want me to tell you? It's a dugong. It's a sea cow. It's huge. Thank you for that. Who could come up so close? No, here. There is some blue bird. You mean this one? Okay, that's a stork. People who this is interesting. Germans wouldn't do that at all to come that close. What did you see? Oh, you saw a
Penguin.
perfect. Okay, I think who knows that animal? Because that is an animal that lives in a different.
Bear.
No, it's not a bear. This is in Africa. There are not that many bears in Africa. You've been there here.
It's an elephant. African elephant. It's an African elephant.
Perfect. Before I destroy children here, please go back to your seats. I already pushed my elbow on your head. That's not good. Thank you very much. So we have a lot of different animals. We have an African elephant. That was the last one. Very good guess. You have elephants in your country as well. Europeans don't have elephants. So we had some flying animals. We had animals who travel on foot, like the elephant. We had the traveling in the air animals. And there is a 4th category that I put in the book. Let's see. There is another screen, so if you don't see your child anymore, it's in front of that screen. We have a 4th category in the book, and that's the city traveling animals. And those are animals, and mostly in Europe, that are fine, but there's one in particular, maybe we get back to that, and that's the bedbug. They love humans. So they travel mostly in cities. But I promised you once upon a dragonfly story. So gute Reise means safe travels, and there we go. We have a wandering glider as our first traveling animal. And you can see that the wandering glider is smaller than a cat. This is a book for children, so I was thinking that it would be a good idea to have some other animal to have a reference for the size. When you are very small, you don't know how big or tall an animal is, but a cat is worldwide nearly the same size. So now you know. Then we have the sign for air traveling animals. It's a flying animal, so air travel. And of course, an illustration made by my friend Tonya, who is a very, very kind, cute, very nice illustrator. And we did this together. So this insect is about 5 centimeters long, and it's just 300 milligrams of weight. That's not much. You could even blow it away if it wouldn't be attached to you or to some surface. And I will read you the story of the animal, and in this book in general, so that you can see how it looks like in the book. This is the left side of the page. To the right side, there is the story. And then there is another double page that we will go through in a different way on stage. And it's all about the pictures that the animal took while traveling. So I will sit here for a second and read out the story. It is a dragonfly. It is called Wandering Glider, to be more precisely, because there are so many versions of dragonflies in this world. And the Wandering Glider is a very special dragonfly. It's one of those dragonfly species that is living all over the world except in the Antarctic, because it's too cold for them at that place. And all the animals are saying hello. I will just have it like that, it's fine, thank you. It's saying hello in its native language. And since it's starting with its travels in India, what do you guess what's in the book as a local hello? What would you say? Exactly, it says namaste, and that's in the book. So every animal is saying hello in its native language. Namaste, my name is Shakti. I am an Indian globe wanderer. I was born as a small larvae in the freshwater puddle in Bangalore, India. For us dragonflies, puddles are inviting places to spend our childhood as larvae. After just 6 weeks, something happened that dragonfly larvae of other species take much longer to do. I became an adult and I got wings. Since then, I have lived in the air instead of underwater. I prefer to fly fast. I whiz through the air like a glittering arrow. I soon realized that I not only had to fly fast, but also far. In India, there is the monsoon with a dry season, and then all the puddles dry up. But to lay eggs, I need a place with fresh water, and puddles are ideal for that. So the great time of traveling has begun. With millions of other dragonflies, I set off to follow the rains. We looked for the best tailwind there is. It makes flying much easier. I flew where the airplanes fly, at an altitude of well over 1,000 meters high. And we flew together over the sea from India to the Maldives. By the way, it is quite dangerous at this altitude. Birds also use the tailwind and they can eat in flight, just like us. But I fly in nimble and landed safely in the Maldives. Many of my friends had already been there, but there was no puddle of fresh water. So we flew on to East Africa together. There, the rainy season just has started, with many beautiful puddles and ponds to lay my eggs in. I have settled on the island of Madagascar. I discovered the baobab trees there and landed. I also found a male dragonfly so that I could lay eggs in a puddle. My children will spread their wings in 6 weeks and find a new place to lay their eggs. Just like me, they will follow the rain. And so it goes on until, after a few generations, our descendants make their way back to India and the cycle begins anew. That is the story of Shakti, and it includes something that adults refer to as a metamorphosis. Have you ever heard of that? It's when animals change their shape and maybe even the place where they live. I have a different species here of dragonfly. That's not a wandering glider, but it has the same changes in its lifespan. When it's flying, it looks like this as an adult. But it wanted, the same as Shakti, find a partner to lay the eggs. So it connects its tail to the other dragonfly, sometimes it depends on the species how it looks like. Sometimes it looks like this when they attach, and then they lay their eggs in a puddle. And the eggs look something like this. It's small and sometimes attached to these fresh plants underwater, but there are different ways to attach eggs as well. And it lives underwater and becomes a larvae, which looks like this. Have you ever seen a dragonfly in this shape? Yeah, some have. I think it looks a bit scary. When I was younger, we had a little pond in my garden at home. I made my father dig one, and we don't have the monsoon and the dry season, so we had water all around the year. And when it's warm enough, then the dragonflies came to my pond as well and lay their eggs. And then the frogs come too. And I am very fond of tadpoles and frogs. And as a child, I figured that the dragonflies, they feed on the tadpoles. So I was very angry with them. But it's part of the life cycle. And after a while, it doesn't stay the same. And it gets out of the water and attaches itself to a plant, most likely, and changes the shape. It will be dry from the outside, and the outer shell will pop up. And this brand new dragonfly will get out. And that's the most dangerous time for a dragonfly in its life. Can you guess why that's one of the most dangerous times? I come over to you.
I guess frogs might eat them, and they might be having other predators.
The other predators in that time cycle, like when it's out of the water, the frogs, yeah, they could be very close and just snatch on it with their tongue, or the birds could come. Very, very clever. Thank you for this brilliant answer. Thanks. So yeah, that's when they can't really move. They are in between stages. They are half in their old shell and half the new animal. And their wings are not dry enough yet, and maybe they didn't even come out of this old shell fully. So at that point, when Shakti was starting its travels, it was here in Bangalore, not so far from where we are now. Shakti was telling us that she did a stopover, which is this P, like a parking spot, and then she finished off at Madagascar, which is just in front of this huge African continent. And of course, she had the tailwind. She was clever, like millions of other dragonflies. When I was first arriving in Kolkata some years ago, I was in an airplane. I had this 14-hour travels, and the first animal that appeared in front of the window in Kolkata was a dragonfly, a wandering glider, which was greeting me. And that was at a time when the monsoon season didn't have started yet. Was on its way. The dragonfly has a stopover at the Maldives, which is a beautiful, small, islandish country. It has just a small problem for the dragonflies, because these islands are made of sand. And the sand is very, very problematic. It's not muddy over there, so there are no puddles forming. When it rains, it will go through the sand. They will lose this fresh water. So dragonflies can't stay. Even though it's very beautiful, it doesn't make sense for a dragonfly. It's just more for refueling, maybe eating some other insects when you're there, and then move on. And the story that I was writing about was found out by some scientist who lives on these islands, and he knew that these islands are not a good place for dragonflies to hatch. So he was wondering, where do they come from and where are they going? And then he was calling the colleagues and was making like, he was having this idea that the monsoon rains and the winds are coming from this direction at that time of year, so maybe they come from India. And then he could call the colleagues in India and ask them, hey, we have millions of dragonflies over at our place. Have you seen them some days ago, maybe at your place? And the Indian scientist said, yeah, we've seen them, but they are gone for several days already. The most of them are gone by now. So that was the first idea, to follow the migration path, because someone was curious and started to dig deeper. The islands from above look like this, so you can really see that it's most saltwater. Saltwater is not good for dragonflies to live in. They can't lay their eggs there. They're not made for that. And there's just small bits of the sand, and it's very tropical, very beautiful, but not made for dragonflies to stay. Whereas this is on Madagascar. It's called the Tsingy. It's a national park. And if you want to become a scientist and you want to find new species no human has found or seen before, you could look out to become a scientist over there, for example, because this is very difficult to check out as a human. It's mountains, it is very sharp edges, and it gets so narrow that the lucky scientists find new species from year to year, because they then dig into a different hole and then they can find something that no one has ever seen before. And Shakti told us that she loved the baobab trees. She found one, and these trees look like that. They can store water in their, what do you say, trunk? In the trunk, thank you. Yeah, so that's how they look like. It's the new home for Shakti till she lays the eggs. And this is another information, because Madagascar, like India, is very well known for all the spices, and they are growing a lot of cinnamon over there. And this is one of my main favorite species. Do you know that one?
There, I forgot the name.
Yeah, I know that.
Ringtail lemurs. Ringtail lemurs.
Yeah, it's lemurs. It's lemurs. And yeah, I like to move it. That's what I did with the adults yesterday in my puppetry workshop. And I want, since this is a bit a scientific education program, I want to tell you that Madagascar is fake news. In the movie Madagascar, there is this king, the lemur king, right? Yeah, I like to move it. He's singing that. And lemurs are living in groups. And what do you think? Is there a king or is there a queen at the head of the group? You think there is only a king?
There's a queen.
Absolutely. It is a queen. So people are fooled by Madagascar in a way, because they think they have kings at the Lemur society, but no way, it's always a queen ruling that society, for good reasons, I suppose. The only thing that Shakti has to look out for during the travels is birds, for example. We had that already. This is a picture of a bird that I took while I was in southern Africa. And it is not feeding on a dragonfly in that moment, but on a grasshopper. And birds many times use the same migratory patterns as the dragonflies. They can feed while they fly. Dragonflies, the wandering glider, is doing the same. So it can eat while it's flying. But if it meets a bird, it's kind of a difficult situation. And I added this warning sign in the book at the end for every animal. So if you want to follow the path of a dragonfly and you are a dragonfly, watch out during your travels not to encounter a bird too closely. It could be the end of travels. but Shakti made it. She was laying her eggs in the pond on Madagascar, and then she had the new generation growing, and that was traveling on the coastline more to the north, and then another generation appeared, and another, and it all makes a huge circle through the east of Africa, the Arabic Peninsula. They are flying over the Himalayas, the highest flying insect, over 6,000 meters high, and they make their way back in several generations to where it all started, to India. Here you can see, I took that from a scientific paper. It's where you find these dragonflies, and you can see they are mostly in warmer habitats. They are so quick with hatching from the egg and finishing their changes, their metamorphosis, that within 6 weeks they are fully grown, where other dragonfly species, it takes them up to 2 years in a pond before they start flying. And they are not living in the very cold areas. That's too cold. They would freeze. They can't lay their eggs. If there is a frozen lake, there are just dead dragonflies in it. So they don't do it. So there are a worldwide community of dragonflies. And you might wonder, how does this German woman know where these dragonflies or all the other animals are traveling? There's a lot of science behind it, and some of the animals are what we call geolocated. That means they get some transponder on them, and the transponder became so small that they can be attached to, like these butterflies, for example. They can be attached to birds. There is a citizen science project for these butterflies that we were talking about, and that's a different way of seeing where animals are traveling, because there they put a sticker on the wing, but it was a controlled situation. No animal was harmed during the process. And if you put a sticker on with the name where you found it, you will find out where it flew when you see it next, because at that place where it's landing, you can see on the sticker where it came from. And there are other ways to attach. This is a shark, for example, and it has this transponder as well. And all the information about the animal is getting into the orbit around Earth to a satellite and is collected and sent back to all the scientists who are working with that information. And that's how we know more about their travels and where they are going. And this is a penguin, for example, who gets his collar with GPS as well. He wasn't very abused about that, but it worked quite well. There is another technique that we use as scientists to figure out more about the animal migration path, and that's more adult thing. We have all this water on our country, on our planet, and you can know where the water in your body came from. So when you check out the water in the human body or in the wings of the dragonflies, you can make an analysis, because there are parts of the water that are very special to areas, and then you can figure out where that animal grew up, which pond it lived in which area on the world. There is a lot of science behind one of those books, and it's a worldwide thing. And so this is something that is very useful if you want to work internationally, become a scientist, and you work worldwide to know more. I have a question. How much time do we have till the next session starts? Yeah, because I was a bit confused at the beginning. We started later, but my next... Yes. Yeah, but what is the time? When does the next session start? It's my session. I just need to know when my next session starts. 3:35. Okay. The next session is supposed to start in 10 minutes, right? Good. We can make it like that. So if you want, I can tell you another story of another animal, which is an animal that lives in and around you as well. So it would be an Indian animal native to India, but it's this one. And it started to live in Indonesia, not so far from here, and it swam to some Australian island. Australia itself is this continent, but there is an island here that belongs to that country. Do you want to have one more migration story? Good. I see in the first row some yes. So we go to the dugong, the sea cow. The dugong is a huge mammal. It lives with its mom for quite a while, but not as long as humans live with their mom. At least you would stay with your mom longer than just 2 years, right? Yeah, many of you would like to stay with moms for the whole life, maybe. Dugongs are adult at around 2 when they become 2 years old and they start to swim on their own. They are 3 meters long, which is maybe, I'm very bad, but it's 3 huge steps. So when I start here, 1, 2, 3. This long, that's the size of a dugong, an adult dugong, quite large. They are very relaxed.
As long as a wait, I didn't ladder. As long as 3 big steps.
It's as long as 3 big adult steps. It's right like 3 meters. 3 meters. Yeah, that's 1, that's 2, and 3. Yeah, there we go. Large. The dugong in this story is called Dilan. Has any one of you ancestry in Indonesia? No. So you don't know how to say hello in Indonesian, right? Good. Then I can tell you, and I can tell you that I have a dugong puppet at home, a huge one. It's talking all the time. Sometimes I take it out to scientific events, and sometimes I even meet Indonesian people, and they are laughing at me when the dugong says, Selamat siang, which is hello in Indonesian. So the story of the dugong is as follows. Selamat siang, I'm Dilan from Indonesia. Obviously, I just need a very, very good meadow of seagrass to be content. And it should be a bit warm so that I feel relaxed. That's not too much for a very, very cute animal like me, right? Mom said that I'm a very cute elephant, but that's not true. I don't live above water. I live underwater, and I feed on greeneries too. But my ancestors go back to the elephants. When there is no seagrass anymore, I need to move on. And if it's too cold, apparently. But I'm very, very slow and relaxed. My goal to find the best seagrass meadow in the whole world, I achieved that goal. Back in Indonesia, the humans destroyed my favorite seagrass meadow when they were doing construction at the beach. So I moved on, but I made a mistake. I was just swimming in one direction, and after a while, there was no seagrass anymore. The water was so deep that the sun didn't reach the ground, so there were no flowers and plants who could grow there. I didn't see the coastline anymore, and I was hungry. So I swam a little quicker. At the very end, I swam more than 1,000 kilometers long, alone, without Mom. But I don't swim with her for a long time. I'm already 2. After a while, I figured a new seagrass meadow, and it was the one of Coconut Islands in Australia. I reached a dugong world record. No other dugong is swimming that far. Now I just need to mate. Hopefully someone will turn up. If you know any sea cow girls, please let them know. It's really, really worth it. So there is a real dugong, it's a non-fiction book, so a real dugong is living alone, feeding on seagrass at the islands of Australia, which are really beautiful. And I was writing to the tourism board of these islands when I figured out about that story to get a glimpse of how that dugong looks like. And where is it? My dugong is not in that. Oh no. It's not there. But it lives. Is it there? No. You can't see it now. I'm sorry. But it looks like a dugong and it's hanging on to a string under the water. Its homing area is where the dive boats go. So it's hanging out at the anchor line of dive boats and using it to brush his teeth. The most dangerous thing for a dugong is the ships who do fishery, because it could swim in one of the nets. Even though it's good at diving, it needs air to breathe. And when you entangle yourself in one of the nets of the fishermen and you can't get up to reach the air, then you would die. Good news is, this dugong still lives on, but it didn't find a mate yet, because no other dugong was that stubborn to follow him through open water for that long. That's the end of this session, and you can stay here, stay back for the next one, which will be about the background of science books for children, like non-fiction books. And I will talk about a different book that is not yet translated, but I'm working on it. I just gifted it to Sunita Williams at KLF, asking her if she can find me a US publishing house, because it's called The Astronaut Next Door, and I made it with the help of European astronauts, but the story is based in half in Europe and half in India. It's Mission Control Mumbai. Dada and Dadi of the main character are helping out, and Maya is the main character, and she's on Mission Masala. So you have now the choice to move on for somewhere else or stay back for the next session. Thank you for concentration and attendance.